So Peter, tell me about how you got into this business of retail.
I suppose it started off when I was just a youngster and joining QuickSave as a trainee manager and learning the ropes there as the discounters. As we both know, they're no longer here, but spent 22 years of my life working for them, and when we merged them with Summerfield, work with them also. But
22 years with QuickSave. What did that teach you? Because QuickSave were a bit like the Aldi of today, weren't they? I mean, incredibly important experience, I think.
Yeah, I think fantastic. It was all stack it high, sell it cheap. It was all about eye level is buy level, and it was all about brands. So, and they were opening 2 stores, every 7 days. So eventually 1,000 stores, and they were the top 4 retailer in the UK, and people forget about that. And I remember the days when Aldi and Lidl hit our shores, and we weren't worried at all about them, and they really didn't have any big effect. It was the big boys that were concerned about QuickSave, the same as what they're concerned now about Lidl and Aldi.
Well, let's talk about Lidl and Aldi in a minute, but just thinking back to QuickSave, what were they offering that the rest of the market wasn't offering?
The big difference, and it was a huge difference, was the brands. We sold top brands, and that was the big difference versus today's discounters.
So, I mean, obviously there was good pricing, there were the top brands, and there was a lot. It was a quick, speedy experience for the customer as well.
Yeah, exactly. I suppose if we turn the clock back, they were the convenience discounters of yesterday, and it was keeping it simple. But customers were buying in the way they were then, was bulk purchasing, going out with big trolleys worth, maybe doing a 1 week or 2 week shopping, not what they're doing today. But it was quick and easy for customers. But also they were literally on every corner street, so they were conveniently located.
What's the lesson, if you like, from taking your experience with QuickSave? What's the lesson for the market here in the UK?
The big boys, your Tesco's, your Asda's, your Morrison's and your Sainsbury's, have taken their eye off the ball. They've not focused on the customer. They've been laying out stores for margin, for profitability, and they've kept on going the same old way. And customers have changed. They've changed their shopping habits, their shopping missions, so they're shopping more frequently. There's a different type of customer out there. And they like the Aldi and Lidl. Not only is it affordable and it's good price, but the main reason is it's convenient, and they haven't had too much choice. So they're not throwing loads of products away at the end of the week. So I think that the supermarkets need to rethink their big box strategy, because if they don't, then they will definitely die.
In terms of choice, why do you think that consumers have moved from a world where they want more choice and they want a very broad range, which obviously was a model which has worked very well for superstores, superstore operators, to a situation where they're actually looking for much more speed and efficiency, and they really can't be bothered with all that choice? It's a generalisation, but we're certainly seeing a shift that way. Why has that happened?
I think there's a couple of reasons. I think the one reason is there is a new generation out there growing, which people say is the Y generation, and they have a different mentality, have a different thinking of shopping. They will be, eating on the go. They'll be shopping on the go. They have less time, and so convenience stores have been growing in the UK. They'll still want choice, but they'll get it little and often, rather than doing monthly or 2 weekly shops. I think that's one thing that's been important. What's drove Aldi and Lidl's success has been a recession. So people have actually drove into those stores to see, wow, these are good value. Their products may be non-branded, but the big supermarkets have also been driving their own label brands. And when they measure like for like true value and quality, Aldi and Lidl come out on top. So they're getting a better quality at a better price, and its convenient location, I think, is the main formula for what's showing their success.
Just going back to the QuickSave analogy, which has continued all the way through, our discussion so far, they were top brands. QuickSave were offering the same brands that the consumer could buy in an alternative supermarket. So there was no quality sacrifice there, was there? In the same way with Aldi, their brands, their products are very high quality, aren't they?
They're most definitely. When you look at fresh food in Aldi, it is fresh. It may not be, loads of choice, but it's what you need. You know, if you look at chicken is like one of the number one sellers, bananas, they're the best value, the best quality. So why not shop there? And I think QuickSave's problem was that they had that model. It was a very successful model. And when they merged with Summerfield, they then started piling in loads of choice, loads of more products. Their prices went up because you cannot compete with limited range goods versus the amount of choice that you put in.
So Peter, just going back to your career and some of your experiences, 2 decades with QuickSave, what came next for you?
Well, with Summerfield, it was an exciting time developing convenience stores. And in '98, you know, there were 3 Sainsbury's locals and 2 Tesco's Expresses. But Summerfield grew and we got knowledge of it. And I think that the Summerfield experience for me put me in good stead for other companies that I work with. You know, and after Summerfield, went on to work with Musgrave and great brands and more of an independent model, completely different to corporate life. But then developing a strategy around convenience stores and around shopping missions that I would like to think is some best practice now is used across the country.
Why has convenience grown? You know, let's just think about customer behaviour and thinking, you know, what's driving that?
Well, again, I think it comes down to this generation. I think it comes down to the time pressured. They've got money to spend. And the other thing is that convenience retailing was very expensive in the early days. Those prices are not so expensive anymore. So they're quite savvy shoppers. And they get in little and often when they need it. And so it suits them. It's close to work. It's close to where they live. It's a good location. And they're not getting spoiled by too much choice, so they're not throwing stuff away. They're quite savvy shoppers.
I think it's a very interesting point. And just thinking about it from the, if you like, the operator's perspective, obviously, if you are opening convenience stores and you're taking a much bigger margin on those stores, the model is an attractive one, isn't it? If you're operating superstores, supermarkets and convenience stores and the pricing is pretty similar across all the store formats, it's obviously, you know, you're in a way you're cannibalizing your best business, aren't you? Your more efficient superstore business by developing convenience stores. What do you think that's been something that's happened to the market, really?
I think it is a completely different business model from trying to run a superstore versus a convenience store. Convenience stores are really quite complex. They have different margins. They have to have different margins to run them. And the big four need to understand that. I think Tesco's and Sainsbury's have had years of experiences with their locals and their express formats, as does Morrison's are learning. And it's not one fits all. So I think it's understanding what that business model looks like and getting the supply chain right. They've got the brands. So, you know, I'm confident that they could actually deliver convenience stores, but they need the knowledge on how they deliver that.
And the consumer's got great options to shop conveniently with not a huge price differential anymore for the fresh top-up stuff they want every other day. And
they're savvy. They know how much products are, you know, and if there's 10, 20 pence difference, they know that. But there's not that differential no more. It's a couple of pence difference. And, you know, where convenience stores were doing something between 20, maybe a good one, £30,000 a week, these stores are up to £200,000 a week now and trading. So they're getting volume through there. So the footfall is definitely supporting that business model.
Just looking at consumer behaviour in store, what do you see as the big trends and thinking about technology and some of the changes and developments that we've seen in terms of how we can do transactions in store? What are some of the big things that you see coming forward in the future?
Well, what was interesting was that when I looked at Summerfield and turning it into convenience stores, one of the areas I looked at was Sainsbury's. And I always looked at the store at Tottenham Court Road. It's still there. It was a central. And it has something like around about 30 checkouts. And I visited it there the other day, and those 30 checkouts are all self-scanning now. So where before they were all manned, people now are savvy to actually doing self-scanning. So it's moving to the speed of service, how people can get in and get out. So I see technology as being the way forward now for retail. So it's getting faster and faster. And as we'll all see, that everybody will have a mobile phone. So I see that as the next leap forward and an extension from self-scanning to actually pay on your mobile phone products. They're all working towards it. Walmart, I've got a trial out at the moment, over 200 stores in America. Asda have announced and Sainsbury's announced that they're going to launch mobile payments this year. So I'm pretty sure that within a couple of years, because it will take a bit of time, but within a couple of years, we won't need wallets. All we'll need is a mobile phone, and everything will be paid for on a mobile phone.
And it changes the whole dynamics of how a store has to operate, doesn't it, and work. It's quite an interesting thing to think about.
Well, the one thing that has always been an issue with stores is availability. It's about service, is getting that product on sale. So people say to me, well, you're going to be putting staff out of work on the checkouts. Quite the opposite. I think what they're going to do is be actually on the shop floor, making sure the stock's on sale to increase the turnover. And the speed of actually getting through the checkouts, it tenfold quicker. So people are actually scanning, bagging and going a lot quicker than they would be in queue. So that's a big plus, and that's what people are happier with.
And looking at the future, you know, what do you think most payments that we do in the average day will be done in this way by using our phone? The phone is the device, you know, rather than our watch or our glasses or our shoes or our belt buckle or whatever. The phone is the device that becomes the mobile wallet, because there's all kinds of experimentation with other things, but the phone makes most sense, you feel?
I think if you left your home this morning and you left your watch or you left your glasses or you left your wallet, you may not go back. But if you left your phone, you would definitely go back. Mobile payments globally, not just in the UK, globally are going to move on dramatically.
Do you think, and lastly, Peter, do you think that in a way, to keep up with Generation Y, retailers have to understand what customer service means to Generation Y?
I think it's a really important thing. You know, looking at all the research, really understanding this huge market, this huge growing generation. How important are their behaviours? How important is it that they shop? What service do they want? They don't want to be talked to at the checkouts. They don't want to be messed around. They want to get in and they want to get out. And understanding those customers is so important in how they lay their stores out and how they develop future strategies for any supermarket or any retail business. Because this generation is not moving away, and technology is a key ingredient, you know, and Generation Z's on the way. So you've got your 3-year-olds that are on iPads at the moment. You know, gosh, I didn't have a computer until I was in my 20s, so and I still don't know how to use that properly. So these 3-year-olds, what are they going to be like at 16, 17, 18 years of age? It's a completely different market that we're looking at.
We're going to have to try and keep up with them, aren't we, Peter? Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you, Dan.